Hi, everybody. We are Crit Fail, and we're collaborating on a video with the World Anvil Publishing. We're going to be playing a scenario from the new Lost Stories expansion for the Broken Tales role playing game. I'm Emily, and I'm going to be the storyteller for this game, and I'm joined by three lovely players. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi there, I'm Kelly.
I'm SPG and I'll be playing the Pale Medic.
And I am Ghost.
Wonderful. So, before we can begin our story, there are a few things that you need to know. To set the scene a little, our tale takes place in Europe, but not the Europe that you or I know. No, this is broken Europe. And here, all fairy tales have been fractured. Resulting from a wish given to a kind child who felt sympathy towards the villains of those old familiar tales we all know, the villains are no longer villainous and have become the heroes of their tales. But as a result of this, to maintain balance and fill their role, the heroes have become a bit more monstrous than you might recall. The streets and forests and fields of broken Europe are stalked by all manner of monsters, ghosts, and things that go bump in the night, although some of them wear faces that may be familiar to you, our dear listeners. To protect against these threats, a secret organization has arisen, the Order, a group inextricably linked to the Church and Papacy. Agents of the Order, known as Hunters, individuals with unique powers that see them able to deal with supernatural threats, find themselves sent to investigate all kinds of strange happenings across broken Europe. It is three of these hunters that our story will follow, and indeed they find themselves traveling away from the Order's headquarters in Rome and towards a small village in Finnish Lapland. And you three have been traveling for over a week through snowy forests and frost covered fields. You have begun to feel as though the cold has seeped into your bones, despite the heavy coats you wear to protect you from the chill. Just as the sun is beginning to set and you have nearly resigned yourselves to another cold night spent outside, you see chimney smoke billowing up ahead of you, and as you reach the top of a hill, you can see the small town of Rovaniemi lying before you. Who are you and what would you like to do?
Hi, I'm Circe, and not only am I well bundled in my furs and long coat, but many layers of clothing underneath, which was ideally set out to combat this chill, but I am going to be very happy to get inside, and the sooner the better. Oh, and I should say that in my lap is a very small pig.
Moriarty will be displeased with the level of temperature or lack of it. Although he does have a rather nice black fur coat, which is over his suit, he has foregone the suggested fur hat, keeping instead his top hat. And he puts one hand behind his back and starts walking, tapping his cane on the snow as he makes for whatever looks like the most centralized building, whether it be a house, inn, or council chamber. He does not have a pig.
Good. You can't all. And the third member of your little group.
The man who stepped out, adorned in a thick fur coat, with a bandolier of red vials clinking, symphonizing with the soft crunch of the snow as he follows.
You could put the vials in my pharmacology bag if you like. I have very many other items in there. She gestures at the carpet bag she's carrying.
These are a little more valuable.
Oh, really? I beg to differ, but as you will.
All right. Moriarty said that he was heading for whatever looked the most central. Are the other two following him, or do you have other plans?
I will gesture for the other gentlemen to go ahead so they can make a better trail for me to walk through.
All right. You do find the most central sort of building appears to be some sort of town hall. However, it is quite clearly not currently occupied. The sun is setting, it is evening, and perhaps just nobody does any business there at this time of night. You do notice that nobody is out. It is cold, so that's one explanation. It's not the middle of the night yet, but you don't see anyone, although you actually occasionally catch glimpses of movement from behind windows. You never quite see someone in there looking at you. However, after a few minutes of wandering the small village, not entirely sure where to go, a young man opens the door of one of the houses and beckons you over.
Moriarty pauses and examines this pleb. He is somewhat uncomfortable with being beckoned, but walks over and looks at him.
Uh, excuse me, are you from the order?
And he tips his hat. We are.
Thought you might be, forgive me, but you don't. Well, you don't exactly look at home here. Uh, my name is Tommy. My wife and I wrote to, well, you people a while back. You already sent someone, but, well, we met her, but she was gone the next day, and well, we haven't seen her since. Come in. It's cold out. My wife's cooking some stew. You can have some if you like.
And he looks back at the others, takes off his hat, and walks inside.
All right. Is everyone coming in?
Yep.
I will bring up the rear.
Perfect. And the house that you are shown into is small but cozy and thankfully quite warm. Tommy builds the fire up a little more while his wife, you know to be named Yuta from the letter, is holding a sleeping baby in one arm and ladling out bowls of a very nice smelling stew with the other. And you are shown to some admittedly rough chairs or stools that you can sit on, but overall it's a very homey little home.
Moriarty will take off his gloves and place them in his hat and place it neatly before taking out a handkerchief and flicking it over the seat before he sits down.
And they kind of regard you, but they don't seem overly insulted or anything. More just, aren't people from far away funny?
Oh my god, hurry up and sit down. Get out of the way. I'm taking off my fur hat and my gloves and stuffing them in my carpet bag, which I drop hastily right beside the fireplace as I go and stand in front to try and warm up as I'm stamping my feet. My little pig beside me is also stamping his feet and getting warm by the fire.
So is the pig, does it look like a baby pig or just like a miniature adult pig?
Be a miniature adult pig, and he's wearing like a little crocheted sweater right now, too.
All right. Tommy and Utah are kind of like, all right, there's a little pig.
They
Little
dress
pig in
their
here.
food.
Little pig in a sweater. And you're given some bowls of stew and basically told to make yourselves at home. And then Yuta, the woman with the baby, looks at you and says, "Did they send you to keep looking into what we wrote in about the other woman? She came. She was very lovely, but well, she went to go visit Nikola's estate, and she simply never came back."
Hmm. Does he have a large estate? Maybe she just found more comfortable surroundings.
I I suppose it's rather large. I've never been, but he is quite wealthy, Nikola.
Well, you have a very charming home, and it's certainly a nice refuge from the cold. And that stew smells divine.
Well, eat up. We've got more if you need it. Not much more, I suppose, but we've got more.
We are to look into what you inquired about, as well as the missing individual.
Good, good. Well, if you need to stay here tonight, you can. Nobody else will be out until the morning. I know that the woman who came before, she said her name was Snow or something like that. A bit
Indeed.
of a funny name, I thought. Uh, she went and spoke to the village elders, but they won't be in the town hall till tomorrow. I don't know what they said to her, but I know they told her something because I heard a few of them later discussing that she'd spoken with them.
Oh, my apologies. I'm Circe, by the way.
Oh, yes, sorry. I suppose we didn't do that.
Well, you
Um,
announced yourselves, but we were being. I beg off on the fact that we are so cold. Our brains are probably half frozen.
I suppose it's rather cold if you're not used to it.
Hmm.
All right, so you're
And these
Circe?
gentlemen? Gesture at Moriarty.
I am Professor Moriarty.
A professor, all right.
I mean no insult, but names are not for me. I go by
Oh,
many, too many.
oh, all right. Well, that's fine, I'm sure. Well, if you do need to stay here tonight, you're more than welcome. Is there anything you need to know? We are very worried.
Why are you worried in particular? I mean, the rest of the villagers seem happy with the situation, I would assume, or they would have moved away.
Because
And
they cannot pay. If you have read the letter, you would know.
Tommy chimes back in. Yes, it's well, we only moved to this village a little over 6 months ago, I suppose, and we found out about the pledge, they call it, and I suppose I thought we'd be in a better position by now, that it wouldn't be a problem, but, well, prospecting's not as much of a sure thing as I maybe hoped, and we're not going to be able to. And look, this village, e- everyone else who lives here has been here for a while, and really, it comes down to two sorts of people on this matter. There's the people that think he, that is the toy maker, kidnapped the ones that went missing 3 years ago. And there's the people that think he's perfectly sweet and innocent and they just, moved away of their own accord.
Hmm. Seems kind of strange that it would move away in the middle of the night.
Yeah, well, I'm sure you can figure out which camp we're in, seeing as
Hmm.
we wrote to you.
It's unfortunate you were not able to make ends meet as well as you had hoped. It's understandable, though, that there are setbacks. The villagers are not able to lend a hand, or they seem not interested?
That's not quite. And Yuta looks at him and says, one of the village elders actually offered to help us make up the difference, but Tommy does not wish to go into debt. He says that if we do, things will only be worse.
Good to know that there is a plan B if such is the case. Well, hopefully, we'll be able to find out what's going on now.
When
Not
you
away.
came to this remote locale, did you not plan for the possibility of the situation not going in the direction that you wished?
Well, here's the thing. Sure, we knew it might not work out like we hoped, but we weren't really accounting for the whole mysterious disappearance if you can't pay extra money. If it was just a matter of us getting by, we'd be all right. It's the needing the extra gold or valuables or whatnot to not have a loved one get snatched in the middle of the night.
It seems a rather pedestrian form of plot. The possible culprits are somewhat limited in number.
I couldn't speak as to that. All I know is look, something's not right, all right? From what I know, the whole village used to think it was him what did it. But the village elders, they all go to talk to him, and then they all come back and they say everything's fine. And if you talk to them about it, everything's still fine. No matter what. They say pay, but they say nothing's wrong.
Hmm. Well, I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this. Probably getting late now, but maybe first thing in the morning we can go talk to these elders and hear what they have to say.
Yes, they usually are in the town hall around, I don't know, 10 in the morning to a little early in the evening. I. Look, Nikola comes to the village sometimes, and I don't know if he's doing any. He does seem very nice, a bit odd. Um, he always wears this red coat. I never seen him without it. It's a little strange.
Why red? What significance or symbolism does it pertain to?
I
They
think
invite us into this house and you interrogate them?
Is that not why we are here? Did we
Yes,
not
but you
travel?
are a professor.
Knowledge
Manners.
has to be gained.
I don't know why he wears the red coat. Only that he always does, and he always looks very tired. He's always pale, and he has dark circles under his eyes. Always.
A medical condition?
I would not know. I've hardly spoken to the man. He does do a lot of good for the village as a whole. It wouldn't have survived this long without him, but the people that went missing, they were only from families that didn't pay this pledge he asks for, so I really don't know what to think.
Do you have the exact wording of the pledge? Or is it kind
Um,
of
yeah.
or is it kind of by word of mouth, like the villagers just told you when you showed up?
We were simply told it wasn't written down or anything as far as I'm aware. But when we came to the village, there's one of the elders. She's sort of responsible for greeting all the newcomers, I suppose, and helping people get in. She's actually the one who offered to help us with the pledge if needed. She told us about it. She's the school teacher here in the village as well as being on the council of elders.
And her name?
Suela.
Suela. Maybe we'll talk to her as well. Well, thank you
Well,
very
I
much
know
for your
there's. Oh,
Sorry,
go ahead.
go
No,
ahead.
that's fine.
I was just going to say thank you very much for your hospitality.
Of
Uh,
course.
I don't think we probably need to interrogate you anymore until we find out some more about the situation and more about this Nikola.
All
Right?
right.
Right, gentlemen?
Very well.
And they are able to find places for you to sleep, even though the house is small, and while the accommodations are not in any way up to Moriarty's standards, you are in a warm house and out of the cold, and it seems as though tonight that is really the best that you are going to get.
He will
And, oh, sorry, go
endure
ahead.
the indignation.
He will. He'll sleep angrily.
Yes. Begrudgingly.
I just want you to know that I'm not sleeping because I want to.
Exactly.
I'm only
Hmm.
sleeping because it is a biological necessity. If I could stay awake all night just to spite you, I would.
He would.
Anyway.
You see, Eurylochus, my pig, once I take my boots off and start warming up my feet again by the fire, he takes each boot individually, takes it over to the fireplace, tips it over so that the heat will radiate inside the boot, comes back, gets the next one, does the same thing. And as I unwrapped my coat and stuff, he will also take that over to where we're going to be sleeping, kind of tucks it in the corner, folds it with his snout, puts everything away for me, and drags my carpet bag over there.
I don't know why I thought you were going to say he takes your boot over and then tosses it into the fire.
That's also what I thought for a second. It's
No.
gonna be like, oh, the pig's annoyed with you, is he?
So I was thinking there's something that he's keeping deep inside a resentment.
Well, animals and being dressed up in clothes, right?
He's like, I didn't want this. I know you said it would keep me warm, but I didn't want to wear this, so I'm throwing your boots in the fire.
I need to get one of those outfits for him that just looks like a person on the front, and then as
Oh,
the
the
pig
little,
moves,
yeah.
yep.
All right. After a possibly restless sleep, if you are not used to sleeping rough, although you have been largely sort of camping out the past few nights, you wake up the next morning and you are offered some porridge of a sort if you would like to have any before you go out. And you're also told by Tommy and Yuta that if you need to come back to their house, you are welcome as long as you're here.
Thank you.
I appreciate your hospitality.
Begrudgingly. No.
Well,
You
he
are very
appreciates the
welcome.
hospitality. He does not appreciate the low standard of living.
They can't help it. So sorry.
Been a long time since the professor was an actual student.
Exactly.
He's become accustomed to the finer things in life.
Well, it's partly why he became a criminal mastermind. Partly from boredom and partly because it got him what he wanted.
All right. It is a new day. It is actually today. You can make note of this. Today is December the 16th. So you have 8 days until the pledge is due. If that means anything to you, I can't imagine you'll be here for 8 days, but if you find a
I
cafe
was going to say, if
somewhere
we
and
find an
camp
inn,
out,
yeah, we find an inn,
then maybe you'll
that'll
be
be the
here
end
till
of
the
it.
pledge is due.
Also depends on when that coach is due to show up again at this very small hinterland village.
They never come back. They just leave you
Hmm.
here.
One time a year.
Yeah. They're like, what are you so worried about the other one going missing for? She just missed the monthly ride out.
Exactly.
All right. It is a new day, and you may go where you wish. You've only heard of 2 places at the moment, one being the town hall, the other being Nicola's estate. But if you wish to simply wander, you could do that too.
He will go to the town hall.
Okay. Are you all going together?
I believe so.
Yeah, it works for me.
Lovely. The town hall is very easy to find. In fact, you saw it last night as it's sort of a large building in the center of the village. It is one of the only brick buildings in Rovaniemi. Like much of what you have seen in the village, because you noticed as you walked by, there are carts and sort of gold panning equipment in the streets, and all of them have a plaque on them, a wrought iron plaque that says they were graciously donated by Nikola Lupe. And no different, the door of the town hall has a larger plaque engraved with words expressing gratitude for the village's benefactor, Nikola.
If it is
Now,
unlocked, he will walk inside.
you can walk inside. Now, I need someone to roll me 2d6.
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 Do they have a piano?
A 6 and a 3. Total of a 9.
6 and a 3. Okay, let me look at this. Ah, how wonderful. Okay. So, as you walk into the town hall, you do see two older individuals in there. One is a woman. She looks very kind, I suppose is the word for it. She's smiling. She just looks like a pleasant person to talk to. The other is a man who looks a little bit more displeased, perhaps with life, everything. He has a large stack of paper in his hands that he is clutching tightly, and he is engaged in a discussion with the woman. And from where you are at the door, you can hear that it seems to be largely finance based.
Do they have a piano?
No, they don't have a piano. I'm sorry. I don't know why a tiny prospecting village would have a piano.
They might
They're
have.
very expensive. Do they have pianos yet, or is it all harpsichords?
I
don't
don't know.
I don't know either. When were pianos invented?
Moriarty is interested in pianos, whether or not they've been invented yet.
Okay, they were invented in 1700 apparently,
There
so
you go.
they would
So
have
yes,
pianos, but
he has some
but I don't.
interest in pianos.
Okay, but I don't think there's one here. Nor is there a harpsichord.
Well, he is looking
That
for
was my
something.
next question.
Looking for something briefly, and slightly disinterested that it's not there. He will then begrudgingly wait politely for them to finish their conversation.
And they do not finish it because they notice the three of you walk in, and as was pointed out by Tommy, the three of you really do not look at home here. You look, well, the way you are dressed, firstly, is a lot nicer than whatever anyone else here would wear. Then there's the fact that one of you is wearing a bandolier of what looks like vials of blood. Another has a small pig walking beside her. Really, you're quite fascinating compared to most of the travelers they would have coming through here. They stop and turn to look at you, and the woman says, good morning. Can we help you? This is the town hall. Uh we are two of the members of the council of the village elders. My name is Soila, and this is Miko.
Your problem of missing people has reached quite far. We have been sent to investigate. As well as a missing woman, a Miss Snow.
Oh, yes, she did come through. I suppose she could be missing. We haven't seen her since, but other than her, what do you mean by missing people?
Something to do with a pledge and failure to pay it?
I'm really not. Oh dear, no. Yes, I understand there are some rumors that do go around the village, but The pledge is something that we pay the village's benefactor as a symbol of gratitude for everything that he has done for us. 3 years ago, there was a bit of a misunderstanding where some people believe that there were kidnappings, but no, that really didn't happen.
Moriarty would like to be using all of his criminal intellect to decide, is she lying? Is she
Uh,
brainwashed? Is she stupid?
are you trying to use a gift or something? What is
Well,
your
I don't know. It's just he's very, very good when it comes to people.
Okay.
He has
Uh,
clashed with heroes, nobles, religious people, and he knows how to deal with each of them.
okay.
And she's none of them.
Yeah.
Well, then he's got the other side covered too as criminals.
Why don't we have our first position check?
Mm-hmm.
You can say you're using your wonderful people skills, so I'll give you a base of 3 for that. And the opposition level is 5.
Dun, dun, dun.
I will go for success with increment.
You're not sure.
Yes, he's not sure. She seems. Either she believes that it is true or she's delusional. But he cannot decipher which of the three he feels strong enough about.
And the man who's holding the papers sort of chimes in, and his frown even deepens a little more, and he says, I honestly don't know why people are still on about that ridiculous idea. It is. There are bigger issues in the village than that, and it is largely the fact that traders are missing their appointments, and I do not know why. It is infuriating. If they set up an appointment to come buy some gold, then they should come buy some gold.
Your village is not particularly populous. If someone goes missing, that would not be difficult to notice, I would imagine. And if they had not gone missing, that would also be rather obvious.
Oh, you don't quite understand. We know where the people in question are. Everybody does. It's not a matter of them going missing exactly. It's simply a question of whether or not you accept that they went to go work for Nikola of their own accord or not.
Or surely if they had gone by their own volition, would they not have spoken to their loved ones?
Look, I could not begin to imagine why people would or would not discuss their new employment opportunities with their families. I simply know that they are fine. They are not kidnapped. They are not missing. They are simply working for Nikola Lupe. In fact, they have much better living conditions than the rest of us here in the village.
I
And if you
do.
talk to. Oh,
I do believe, sir, that you cannot imagine, because that would require imagination.
Right, relax.
You said there was other, larger problems in this small village.
yes.
What would they be?
As I said, issues of finance. We have traders who have set up appointments to come and buy gold and then simply never showed. It is all well and good to find the gold, but if we cannot sell it, we are not bringing in any money.
And these traders are external, not from the village.
Well, of course they're not from the village. We would hardly find the gold and sell it to ourselves.
That was a less than logical question, Professor.
Actually, I could see it if one of the traders lived here, loaded up on his gold, and left to go to a bigger city, then that would make sense that he would have a residence here.
That is what I was implying.
I'm sure you.
I am an accountant, and I am in charge of overseeing the gold trade between this little village and the merchants who see fit to trade with us. So when we arrange for people to come and buy, it goes through me. Therefore, I am the one who is aware of and consequently extremely concerned by the fact that there is an unusual amount of missed appointments. It is inconsequential if once or twice a year someone says they will come buy gold and then neglects to inform us that they have changed their mind, but that is not what is happening.
The weather has not been a factor?
Mm, Not based on what I have in my records, no.
How many missed appointments are there?
Too many.
Can you be more specific?
He can. He is a accountant. But it's the one thing he could do.
I don't really see. Oh, it's any of your business. My records are my records, not yours. And you don't
True.
even live here.
Very good point.
Then
Go ahead.
I'm afraid this problem of yours is not a problem of ours, if you want. Not
I never said it was
as
a problem of
simple.
yours. I simply said it is a bigger problem than people's delusions about kidnappings.
So have you seen these people then at Mr. At Nikola's estate? Have you yourself seen these people?
No, I have no reason to visit them. I know none of them. I did not come to this village until 2 years ago, after the time in which they were said to have gone missing.
So no one has gone quote unquote missing since then?
No.
Hmm. Then I can see why it doesn't seem to be a big problem to you. The other more kindly individual here in
Yep.
the town hall, the woman, how
Uh-huh.
has she been acting during this whole discussion?
She looks sort of frustrated by the accountant, which you don't get the sense is a new thing. Um, he is,
Account
as he said, the newest addition to this council of elders, and there is perhaps the sense that he is not necessarily endeared himself to the rest of them. Although
accountant's
clearly he
going to
has,
accountant.
yep, he has his uses, or he wouldn't be there. She is not looking overly distressed by any of this. She sort of nodded along when he said that there's traders who haven't showed up and that that is indeed a problem for the village. Not at this point, clearly a problem of epic proportions as they're not fully panicking. Miko's just complaining a great deal, but it seems to be something she's aware of, probably because he's complaining about it a great deal. And she didn't seem to disagree when he said that no one's missing.
Hmm. And you, ma'am, you are okay with the situation in the town? You all make your own pledges every year?
Yes, Nikola is. Well, I suppose he's a bit of an eccentric, but he is very kind, and he has done a lot of good for the village. It only seems fair to give a little something back every once in a while. It hardly amounts to everything he's done for us.
And is that gold or money that you leave on your step, or what is
Oh,
considered valuable?
it can be anything. Gold, if you had jewelry, something. Gold is most usual because of, well, the livelihood of many in the
Hmm.
village.
What about I've heard of quaint customs like this in other villages where they leave things out for not the same case, of course, but fairies and such, where they would leave out baked goods or something A special treat made once a year that is a little bit more effort to produce. Has anybody done anything like that?
Oh, it does need to be something sort of with monetary value.
Ah,
Everything has monetary value to somebody.
I suppose. I shall clarify. It needs to be something with a bit more monetary value than a baked good.
something of a little more harder currency, I guess.
Moriarty, knowing some French cafes that he's been to, is somewhat refuting that idea in his head, but realizes she's too simple to understand that concept, so he will let it pass for now, even though he knows she is wrong.
He won't argue French
Uh,
pastries with the
He will
school
not.
teacher in the small Finnish village.
He will not.
And she will look at all of you and say, I I don't mean to assume anything, but did Tommy and Yuta invite you to the village?
They are worried for their child, which is understandable.
Yes, they are a very lovely couple. They seem to be having a bit of trouble adjusting to our village's customs, the rules of the community. I understand that they are alarming themselves over these rumors, but really, they needn't. I offered, in fact, to help them make up their pledge for the year, but I was told that they would rather not accept a loan.
They do seem a little set in their ways as well. The other reason, of course, we're here is we're looking for Miss Snow.
Yes, that was the other one. Um,
The
who?
other stranger that would have showed up recently.
Well, I wasn't going to say it.
Hmm.
Yes, she did come through. She actually spoke to. Well, I wasn't here. I think she maybe spoke to Katri and Asmo. They're other members of the council. From what I heard, after speaking with them, she went to go see Nikola and hasn't returned. I didn't really think much of it as she doesn't live here. She wouldn't have needed to inform us if she was leaving, but if you say she hasn't made her way back, then I suppose it's possible. Well, the woods are rather dense, and there are creatures and such. If you are not familiar with the area, it is possible to get lost.
Hmm. My understanding of her is that she is quite capable, so that is probably less likely the case than she has just decided to stay with Nikola for a while.
I suppose that is a possibility. He could certainly offer uh, finer accommodations than anyone in the village proper.
How does he make his money, or is he from old wealth?
Oh, no, no, no. He is a craftsman of sorts. He makes the most amazing toys anyone has ever seen, and he sells them to wealthy families all over Europe. He's a bit of a recluse in a sense, I suppose, but he does very good work, and he's always very happy to support our village. He's very formal in a sense, I suppose. He never wants to go anywhere without an invitation. It's rather archaic.
He appears to be possibly of ill health. His appearance of being haggard, pale, dark under the eyes, in my experience,
Yes,
could sometimes be poison, but I assume no one is poisoning him.
I should certainly hope not. I know he has his own staff at his estate. I can't imagine they would be poisoning him. I have often wondered if perhaps he has difficulty sleeping. He seems to keep odd hours of work. When he comes to the village, it's usually already night.
Why does he come to the village? It seems like he would have everything at his place.
He comes every now and then if there are things he needs to sort out. He'll speak to us on the council about things that perhaps need to be purchased for the village. If you've walked around, I'm sure you've noticed he's sponsored
Hmm.
a good deal of things here. So he'll check with us if anything else is needed, or sometimes we help organize the shipping of the toys that he makes to other areas because Miko has connections with the merchants who come to buy gold. He can sometimes set up deliveries of toys from Nikola's workshop.
Is there a backlog then, since the traders have not been showing up?
I'm a little unsure. And she turns to Miko, who will say, well, no, no, there's not, because it's not every trader not showing up, it's just some of them. So there have been enough still arriving that I can send out any outgoing parcels that need to go. It's just simply a
Ah,
matter of, well, it's a matter of a lot of things. It's inconvenience, and it's frankly quite impolite to make an appointment and then not show up for it.
all about efficiency and courtesy.
Yes,
Hmm.
quite.
Is there anything that is putting those missed individuals in the same category? Are the traders coming from the same area? Would they come along the same road? Do they obtain the same items?
Well, they would all be coming to buy gold, as that is what we export. In terms of how they come, I believe they would all be coming through the forest rather than the high road. At least, I could double check my records, but that is what I recall.
Why would they do so?
Well, depending on where you're coming from, it can be a faster route.
You said some. Are
I
the
said some.
ones that were delivering the toys, have any of them not shown? Or is it only ones that have been coming to trade gold?
Well, there is no one specific assigned to come collect toys. I simply, when somebody comes to buy gold, if there are outgoing parcels, I can send them with them. There's,
I see.
and as far as I know, nobody leaving the village has not arrived at their destination, although I suppose it is possible I would not know. They hardly write to
Hmm.
me to let me know they have gotten home.
And I suppose any angry letters for missed toys to the nobility would have been addressed directly by Nikola.
Quite
Hmm.
possibly, and I do not handle any of his
Of
mail.
course, of course, of course. Well, I had another thought, but it is gone now.
I'm sorry. Well, I'm sorry. Miko's not sorry. He
Hmm.
probably doesn't care.
He doesn't care.
Miko doesn't have the imagination to care.
Miko's a very one dimensional accountant. I'm sorry, Miko.
Hmm. Very good at what he does.
You said Mr. Lupa does not like to come unless invited.
And Soila chimes back in and says, yes, it is something I've noticed about him. Well, he never really shows up anywhere unannounced. He will require an invitation.
A man
He,
after my own heart.
I see.
but he comes on his own business when he delivers toys and such.
Well, I mean, he'll come to our door and knock, and
Hmm.
if we invite him in, he may come in. Otherwise, he will simply hand off a parcel and chat in the doorway. He doesn't tend to stick around for very long. I sometimes think he's a bit shy. He doesn't seem to like to speak to people all that often. He enjoys being by himself on his estate, from what I understand. He employs quite few staff, even for the size of the house.
Well, there is something relaxing about it being with oneself. Only new. Only you truly know you.
I suppose that is true.
Plus, we can hardly interrupt our own selves when we're busy studying and such. Do you have who looks after the roads? And if you should have wolves in the wintertime, who arranges to deal with them? Do you have a
Ah,
captain or such?
well, there was Katri. She used to be a hunter herself, but well, those of us who are village elders, I suppose you can see why we've become such. She's a little too old these days to do the hunting herself, but she does oversee the other hunters of the village. So, were there issues with animals or anything like that, they would report it to her, and she would sort of come up with
Hmm.
a plan of attack, I suppose.
Smart.
I don't suppose your council will be gathering shortly, rather than us track them each down at their homes.
It's a little, perhaps because it's such a small village, we don't often all come in at once unless there's something very important that would require everyone. I don't know if she'll be in today. I could tell you where she lives if you need to speak with her,
That
but
would I would appreciate that.
all right. And she'll give you brief directions, which, as it's a very small village, is something along the lines of, yes, once you turn out the door, if you go left and walk down that street, it's the third house on the right.
Thank you. And you said Miss Snow had visited her as well, right?
Uh, yes, I believe it was Katri and Asmo who spoke to her. I couldn't swear to it, but from the conversation I had, I, I think it was those two.
Oh, I have no further questions for you all, and you seem very busy. And I just look at the fellow and just smile at him shuffling papers. And
Which he is
hmm,
constantly.
mm-hmm.
Well, this has certainly been an enlightening
I
conversation.
am I'm pleased to hear it.
Well, shall we be
I
off to
wish
sea?
you the best of luck.
Thank you. And Miko just kind of ignores you and nods a bit and then goes back to trying to solve the accounting mysteries of the world by staring at
Moriarty
a lot of numbers.
pauses and, with his cane, thumps the wall gently on one side. A piano would not be amiss in this location.
I think it would be a miss in this location. Who puts a piano in the middle of a town hall?
He just ignores the keeper of the pig.
She
As
just
he's
crouched. She just crouched down, talking to her pig right now,
she's
anyways.
like,
So
I don't think they should put a piano in here. She says to the pig. I think that would be
I,
very silly.
that would interrupt the bean counter's work.
Yeah, he'd hate it.
You've already
Moriarty's like,
come up with a reason he
exactly.
likes.
Then the whole village goes bankrupt because he can't concentrate and he gets all the numbers wrong.
But they get some culture.
And there's
Uh,
nobody here to tune it.
That
I
would
don't
be a
even know if
possible
anyone here
problem.
would know how to play it. It's in this time period, it's kind of like the rich people that have the time and money to learn instruments and
Yes, like
such.
Well,
Moriarty.
Moriarty has a plethora of
He
privilege.
has
Yes,
12 pianos in his home
Hmm.
one for every day of the week.
and some spares.
Hmm. All right,
All
I'm
right.
off to see this Katrine.
All right, you're off to visit Katri. Okay.
Katri.
You have been told where to find her, and indeed, once you arrive at the small house, if you knock on the door, a older looking woman, she's a little bit, she doesn't look like grizzled with age, but she's got a couple scars on her, and you can tell she did used to live a bit of a more dangerous life than she's living now on the village council. but she doesn't look overly displeased to see you. Looks a little curious why three strangers have shown up on her doorstep, but she'll look at you and then say, can I help you?
Yes.
Great.
Sorry.
How?
We are looking for a Miss Snow. My understanding is that maybe you had a chance to talk to her before she departed for uh, Nikola's estate.
I did. Yep. She came through about a week ago. She came into the town hall. I was in there that day, and she talked to us a bit about Nikola, asked a couple questions. She was interesting. It was quite funny. Cold didn't seem to phase her one bit. She wasn't even wearing a coat, but didn't seem to bother her.
I just kind of stamp my feet and shake a little bit and make like I'm cold. Not all of us can be as comfortable in this weather, I'm afraid.
She certainly didn't seem to mind it. Anyway, asked us a few questions, said she was gonna go speak with Nicola, and I haven't seen her since.
Any chance she was? We've been told she hasn't checked in a week or so, and we were a little bit worried since we were coming this direction. Anyways, is there any likelihood that there are wolves and stuff in the area that we have to worry about on our walkarounds?
Kind of a funny question. There, hmm. Used to be, I would have said, yeah, watch out for the wolves. Strangest thing, these past few years, animals, not so many of them these days. The hunters tell me numbers are decreasing drastically. Now, we don't survive entirely off of hunting, so it's not like we're about to starve or anything, but it's a little odd.
Do you have any
Yeah.
reason for why it may be so?
No, I don't. I mean, usually you start seeing animals go missing, could mean a bigger predator's moved in. I haven't seen any signs though, no tracks, nothing like that. Could be people building too much. We're not building. And this whole village was set up years before the animals started disappearing. Could be something else happened, but we don't do any. I don't know. You hear tell of like factories on the river dumping things in bad for the animals. We don't have anything like that here. So really, couldn't say.
Strikes me that usually the smaller communities somewhat rely on hunting to supplement their pantries during the winter and such.
Oh, we do definitely hunt for food, but it's not got to a point where we're in danger of starving. Especially because we do get a lot more traders than you'd expect for a village this little, and that's because, well, gold. Always going to be people coming to buy gold. So we're able to get a lot of dry goods in up with them, and yeah, we're still hunting, but
Hmm.
eh, we're not at risk of anything yet. I'm keeping an eye on it because if it keeps on as it is, well, that'd be another story. But for the time being, no need to panic, anyone.
That is good to hear.
I think we will be visiting Nicholas soon. Could you give us directions?
Oh, sure. I'll give you the same ones I gave the girl you're after, too. Quickest way I know of is through the forest, and that's where I told her to go. So if you leave the village, head uh due west. Yeah, it's about a 6-hour walk through the forest, so I wouldn't undertake it lightly. Now,
Hmm.
that is to say, there are a couple hunting lodges along the way, so if you do need to stop and rest, or If you get snowed in, need to take refuge for the night, there's some places you could.
It's good that you take these precautions.
Eh, any place that's got people out hunting in the winter, especially around here, chance of snowstorms, they can come on sudden, so good to have something you can hole up in until it's safe to come out.
Oh, I did have a question. I meant to ask them at the town hall. Um, Yourself, have you been here as long as Nikola as well? I know he's very much a patron of the village and stuff. I was just kind of wondering when he moved in.
Uh, that's a good question. I mean, most of us that have been here a while sort of all came in at the same time. This village, we're not an ancient one, not roots going back forever, just sort of as soon as someone found gold in the river. Maybe 15 years ago they first started building, and then between 10 and 15 years ago, I'd say most of us sort of trickled in, and then there's been a couple newcomers since, not too many. I'd say Nikola probably been here. Be hard pressed to put it. 12 years?
Hmm. So he wasn't one of the first founders then.
No, no, he didn't found the village, but we were actually doing a lot worse before he moved in. I mean, if you've been around here at all, I'm sure you can tell that he's always said that he really appreciates a lot of things about this village, but mainly he likes how remote it is. Kind of funny because that's not something a lot of people like about it, but he says he likes the peace and quiet. Says it's good for his work, coming up with ideas. The things he makes are, wow, pretty crazy. Never really seen anything like him. I mean, none of us live here could afford to buy him, but we've
Ah.
seen him since he makes them. They are impressive and says it takes a lot of thinking to come up with them, and a nice quiet environment's just what he needs for that. So it's one of the reasons he says he's happy to help out with the village. Likes having a place where he can stay and no one bothers him, and when he wants to come and chat, well, we're always happy to see him, and he gets along just fine with all of us. So
And his staff, he has quite a number of people working for him, is what we've been told. Do they come into town
uh
often?
well, his cook comes into the village every once in a while to pick up some more supplies. So does his butler, I think. He, to the best of my knowledge, only really has three sort of staff for his actual house, and then there's some workers from the village that work in his workshop, help make the toys.
And they come back into town often.
Not so much. They tend to stay on the estate. I think it's just a lot nicer there, really.
Do you recall when you last saw anyone else from his estate in town? I'm just wondering if maybe they were
Uh,
visiting their family.
mm, can't say as I do. I wouldn't really keep track. I
Hmm.
don't know anyone that moved out there, so.
Makes sense. Well, I'm all peopled out, and I scoop my pig up and hold him in my arms and just step back a few steps and just kind of hug my pig,
As one does.
as one does. Primitive squishy.
Aw.
The medic will tip his hat. Thank you for your time.
Oh, of course. Of course. It's not like well, I don't have as much to fill my days as I used to. Council's alright, I guess, but nothing like being out in the forest all day.
I'll just step back a few steps and start a little snowball and then put Yuri down and they can start rolling it with their snout. Bigger and bigger.
Just in the background now, there's just a miniature pig just constantly rolling a snowball that's getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah, and we'll get a whole line of them while we wait for the professor to make up their mind what they want to do.
Yep, Moriarty's thinking.
He nods and turns.
He has no questions.
He has no questions.
Okay. Well then, you have actually spoken to 3 members of the 6-member village council at this point. You've heard the name of one other, which was Asmo. You know of the estate, and you know what path Miss Snow took to get to it. What would you like to do?
If you go into the woods today, you're sure of a big surprise.
Yep, lots of bears, except, oh no, the animals are going missing. No bears. Are there bears in
This
Finland? I don't know.
Probably.
Good.
this Nick. I fear he's a man after my own heart, shall I say.
So far, everybody seems after your heart.
I mean, the recluse, the pale skin, only entering when invited. It seems we have many similarities.
I agree, he's much like Rome. All roads seem to be leading to him.
You would think they would have a road. They just have a woods. And a 6-hour hike. I would hope that he would put us up once we get there.
It seems a problematic way for him to be able to ship those items that he makes.
Well, the rich seem to enjoy their oddities. We've got 3 snowballs so far.
Is he making a Tesla? And is he a vampire? Those are the 2 questions we have.
2 questions? Yes. He's inventing cars.
No, the fellow
He's
Tesla.
inventing the electric car.
Yeah, he's making Tesla.
Before they can do it.
It's
in
a
our
weird
time.
Frankenstein. He needs to do that so that he can get the electricity to make Frankenstein. It's sort of which came first,
Yeah,
the
first
chicken
he has
or the
to
Tesla?
make the car so he can make the electricity to power the car. And he's just calling it a toy. And everyone's like, wow, what a cool toy for kids.
Adult kids.
Yeah. And he's just sending them all across Europe now. Cars. Anyway. Yep, that's the twist. You got it.
He's building a Cybertruck.
He is. That's the adventure. Good job. You figured it out.
Do
would
you
you like to
feel
do?
that there's anything to be gained from talking to the rest of these councilmen?
Not unless they had a disagreement with him, and it doesn't sound like any of them did. Yes, he's wonderful. Yes, he takes care of the town. Yes, he's odd. Yes, he wears a red coat. Yes, he looks pale and tired. Yes, he only shows up at night. Yes, he only gets invited in. These all seem to be of the same sort of answers. I think we have to talk to the person themselves, and if that's where Miss Snow went, maybe we can find out if she's staying with him or what happened to her.
Yes, but are they giving us those answers because that's what they actually think? Or are they giving us those answers because that's what they're told? They've all said the same things, which sometimes can be the truth. But sometimes when everything lines up like that, it is getting one story straight.
Maybe, but
Well,
it doesn't seem like they have enough strangers to worry about lying all as well as they do. Like, you would think at least a couple of them would stutter in their story if it was made up.
Well, Professor, you say you are good with that type of work, so what is it?
I am unsure at the moment. I do not trust this individual, but he could be doing what he's doing to alleviate those fears that people may have. He may be asserting some form of influence over them. You are a hunter. You have met other hunters. You know what some of them are capable of.
I haven't. I'm relatively new to this whole thing, but in fact, I think you two are my first hunters that I've met.
The simplest answer is often the correct one. What can be attributed to incompetence is often the right
I do agree you should never ignore the quality of stupid.
one. I do not like that word. The less enlightened. Not everybody has a chance to gain knowledge like we do.
6 snowballs now.
There is certain similarities, to be sure.
Is there anything we should be aware of if we're going to go talk to him then?
The same as me. I have to assume you have read the reports given to you.
You see her just at the side of the house you guys were just at, and she's looking through the stacked firewood that's alongside the house there for a relatively small, slender looking branch sort of thing. And then she'll take out one of her knives from her alchemy bag and start whittling a point to it.
Many of the tales did not do justice to the truth, however. You have no particular fear of faith, churches, or crosses, do you?
Well, if I did, that would make my occupation quite inconvenient.
Nor did I
Why?
see you had any trouble crossing over moving water.
The ones who were in those tales must have not been able to swim.
Moriarty has no comeback for that.
It's a great point. So,
And he's looking at the somewhat pallid but daylight that they are in, and our medic, who is also in said daylight and not bursting into flame.
I will say that based on your
It is
character sheet,
uncomfortable, yeah.
yes, yes. So maybe you have a hood or something. It says sunlight is uncomfortable for you. It does not say you will die.
I imagine like a witch doctor, or not witch doctor, plague doctor's hat. Like not the mask, but like the.
Not the bird mask, just a big hat.
That would be really cool, actually.
It would be funny if you'd just been walking around with a crow mask this whole time and nobody knew.
It wouldn't be that strange, though. I feel.
No?
When was the bubonic plague?
Before the 1700s.
Yeah, 1600s
Oh.
and earlier. But yeah, I mean, it came in waves in over a while.
Maybe you
But-
just like the scent of lavender, and that's what's in the beak of the
Yeah, it's
the
just
mask.
Yeah.
like it's like I'm really shy. I don't want anyone to see me. And I like crows.
And it's intimidating.
Yeah. It would be even better if the three of you, miniature pig, fancy top hat guy, and a plague doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
You know what? He does have one now, because that sounds badass.
He does have one
Yeah.
now. He found one since you arrived.
Just pulls it off that dead body in the alleyway.
It's like, hey, a plague doctor.
I mean, he never said he had it or didn't, to be
I
fair.
know we never did specify that he didn't have a plague doctor.
As
And
Moriarty
he is the pale
retrieves it
medic.
from a stash that he
A
previously
stash that he
placed
left
here.
10 years ago in this tiny Finnish village. He said
It was
someday
too cool to throw away. I didn't know. One day this may come in handy.
I buried it behind the town hall, and I knew one day I would have reason to return for it.
So, if we head off now, we should be getting there just about dark.
Very well. And
Alright.
he looks to the west,
Perfect.
and then he heads to the west.
And it's to the east.
Yeah, exactly.
He
Go
looks
the
in the
long
wrong way.
around. They'll never figure that out. We'll come from
We're
the
gonna
opposite
walk
side.
all the way around the
Yeah,
world.
it takes a while, but they won't see us coming. Don't worry.
Because by the time we get there, they'll have forgotten
And I'll be
that
able
we
to
ever
explain my
existed.
plan on the journey.
My long plan. All right. Is everybody
Clever.
heading to the forest to begin making their way?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So, the forest is dense. Branches that glimmer with a coat of frost weave together tightly, and a thick blanket of snow crunches under your feet. You can see tracks very easily in the snow, both animal and human. You know that Nicola's estate is about a 6-hour walk, and you are pleased to see that there is a path, basically. You're not just wandering blindly through the forest. It appears enough traffic comes from the village to Nicola's estate and the other way around that there is a well-worn and established path. Now, I need somebody to roll me a d6.
I'll do it, I guess. I did it the first time.
All right. Yeah, you determined who you were meeting in the village hall, so let's see what you find now.
Not 1d6 left. 4.
You got a 4. Oh, hoo-hoo. Okay. Okay.
That sounds entertaining for someone.
Okay. All right. As you walk through the forest, you begin to hear a crunching sound that isn't your own footsteps. It's clearly footsteps, but it doesn't sound human. And looking up, you can see coming towards you through the trees 4 large creatures, and you realize that they are reindeer, which at first is a bit of a relief, as reindeer are not particularly fearsome creatures. Until you notice them open their mouths, and these reindeer seem to have a large number of very sharp teeth that are stained red. And they are walking in your direction.
Let us move to one side. Let them pass.
They are pretty intent on getting to you, and we are entering an exchange, the first exchange in our first instance of combat. So, how this is going to work, if we need a bit of a refresher, is players are all going to go first. No particular order. You can go as you wish. And then the non-players get a go if any remain. So, who would like to do something first?
How much room and stuff is there on this path? I mean, these reindeers have antlers and stuff too, I assume, so.
Yep, they got antlers. So they are not on the path exactly yet. They are coming to you from the forest. They are. It's very strange. They look like reindeer, aside from the teeth, but there's. You've never seen a deer or an elk or any other sort of creature like this move like they are doing. They don't seem like prey animals like reindeer are. They are stalking you, and they seem very predatory.
I don't like these reindeer.
Who would like to do something first?
I will do something.
All right, what would you like to do?
Shove these two people in front of me. No, actually, I put my pig down,
Okay.
whisper something in his ear, and caution everybody to stand back a few paces as my pig grows to the size of an elephant.
Wow.
Costs me a soma.
Okay.
It's one of his special abilities. Size change. Can shrink to the size of a mouse or grow to the size of an elephant.
There is suddenly a massive pig on the path with you, and he's probably sort of broken several branches off of trees as he grew up to a now immense height. And the reindeer definitely pause for a moment because that is not what they were coming to bite. That is much bigger than
Protect me,
any of you.
Yep. Protect me, Eurocles.
All right.
I will also pull out my, not pull out, but I will position my metal staff in front of me. I have a well-balanced metal staff, apparently.
Nice.
Hmm.
All
Never,
right.
never trips me up when I try to sit.
Never, never, ever. Maybe it's collapsible, goes in your bag.
Ooh.
All right. Who wants to go next?
Moriarty is ingenious at concealed weapons and underhanded low blow tactics. He's going to try to get one of the reindeer to stick its head down and have a go at him, but he's positioned himself to try to get it to stick its antlers in between two trees long enough that he can attack it.
Okay. He can definitely attempt to use underhanded tactics on the reindeer. Please make me a. Well, you don't necessarily need to make a roll. It's up to you. You need a 3. You are going to be dealing 1 wound to one of the 4 reindeer. What does that look like?
So Moriarty moves to the right, away from the enlarged pig, and he will be snapping his fingers, trying to be the focus of one of them, of which one of the reindeer does pay more attention to him. And he just sort of stands there, and as it approaches, and it sticks its head down and charges. And he was able to maneuver out of the way, and he'd chosen his position carefully, and the reindeer jammed its antlers in between the two trees. It's not wedged permanently, but enough that it's having to try to yank its way out. As it's trying, he pulls a knife from somewhere within his coat that he had concealed and plunges it into the beast's neck before he tries to rip it down and out, causing as much damage as he can do before stepping back.
All right. And the reindeer is looking quite injured, but is still able to stand. It's still maybe a little bit wedged, so it's probably going to have to spend time getting out from where it was tricked into getting, but it is alive. And the pale medic, what would he like to do?
The medic will toss a vial of blood over to Moriarty.
Okay.
Is Moriarty going to drink it?
You know, I'm not sure he would because he's so proud of his own abilities. However, for the sake of the game and showing the mechanics, he will.
Okay. So, having drunk the vial of blood, the effect that Moriarty is going to have is that for the rest of the scene, every check that he makes, he automatically has an additional success. Now, every time you use that, you need to roll a d6, and if you roll a 5 or a 6, the effect ends.
Okay.
Okay. All the players have gone. There are 4 reindeer. One is still a little bit stuck, wedged between some trees, so that one is going to be spending its turn trying to extricate its antlers. The 3 that are remaining, not sure whether reindeer, even odd, monstrous ones, have a good sense of math or numbers or anything, but they do seem to have worked out that there are 3 of them available and 3 of you. So,
And an elephant.
and an elephant. But they're a little intimidated by the elephant. They're kind of like, those people are a reasonable size for us to bite. And whatever that thing is not.
And
We
that's why it's
cannot bite
between
it.
me and them.
It's a little too big. Oh, is the pig between you and them?
Oh yeah, I mentioned to him
Oh,
to protect
okay.
me.
Good to know. Is it between all of you and them except Moriarty? Because Moriarty went to go stab one? Yes?
So yes.
All right. Well, firstly, a reindeer is going to try and attack Moriarty because he's right there. So, in order to not be hit by this reindeer, please make an opposition. Sorry, not an opposition check, a defense check. The opposition level is 3. One of the reindeer that is not slightly trapped charges forwards, and you're a little taken aback by how fast it is. And it's that you think that is why you're not able to dodge when the reindeer's teeth sink into your shoulder. And they are sharp. They go in very easily. And there's something odd about it. It's you're not unfamiliar with magic. It may not be your thing, but you certainly know that it exists. And you get the sense that there is something beyond just teeth tearing into your flesh going on here. You suffer 1 wound. And this is more player knowledge than Moriarty knowledge. Moriarty just knows something's up. But you, as the player, can know that you have been marked. Okay. So that was one reindeer's go. Uh, Another reindeer is going to try and charge towards the medic. Can you please make me a defense check? You'd like a 3. Oh, wait, actually, before you do that, Moriarty needs to roll a d6 to find out if the blood
I didn't
effect
use it.
ends or not. Oh, you didn't use it?
No, I didn't use it.
Okay, fair enough.
I just
Never
rolled
mind.
3d6 on top of my base 1, and I got a 1, so I failed. I did not do the base 2.
Fair enough. All right, then, the medic. Please make a defense check. You want a 3.
Can the medic try to wrestle with the deer or reindeer as it charges him?
Sure, he certainly can try. Since you do have the enhanced strength, I'd say you'd be more likely than one of the others to be able to kind of brute force turn it away from you. So give me a. You got base 3. If you want to just succeed with cost, you can just do it. If you want to have a standard outcome or outcome with increment, need some additional successes.
Success.
All right, so you should just have a standard outcome then.
Nope. 6 because that's 4, right? So it'd be
Yep. So
wait, no,
4.
increment is 2.
Yeah. To get an increment, it needs to be 2 over. So you've just got a standard outcome. So, how are you preventing this reindeer from goring you with its antlers?
The medic will brace where he stands and outstretch his arms, and as the deer charges, he will grab the antlers and wrestle with it and yank its neck to the left, sending it off course.
All right. The third reindeer that is not stuck doesn't actually charge for anyone in particular. It walks forwards and walks sort of towards the area where the giant pig is, where Cersei is behind the pig, and the medic's kind of over in that area too. And the reindeer is going to turn and bite hard into its own leg. And as it does so, a spray of blood covers a small area. It absolutely, I am going to say, hits the pig because, well, it is possible to dodge this. I think the elephant sized pig is not going to have much luck with that.
It also wouldn't.
So the pig has some blood on it. I definitely need the medic to make a defense check. And Cersei, I'm trying to decide if being behind the pig, if the reindeer could have gotten to a
You can still
place where.
make one.
All right, well, you said it, not me. I need you both then to make a defense check. You want a 7.
Oh my goodness. Any chance I can get 3 for hiding behind the pig, though?
Sure. You are behind an elephant-sized pig.
Mm-hmm.
Do I also
Now-
get that?
Are you hiding behind the elephant-sized pig?
He was next to it, so
But are you hiding behind it?
then yeah, he'll use what he has
Okay.
at his disposal. Yeah.
Don't
Okay.
go dragging the antlered thing behind my pig, because that's where I am.
No, it ran off a different way or something.
All right, you could both have a 3 for being behind an elephant-sized pig.
Oh my goodness. We need a 7?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, well, I fail.
You failed? Okay.
Hmm. I succeeded.
You
6, 4, 3,
succeeded.
3. Plus
Okay.
the 3 base.
So as the reindeer does what seems to be rather counterintuitively injuring itself, Cersei is not splattered by any blood, but both the giant pig and the medic are. And as the blood hits you, you don't suffer any wounds, but you do get the odd sense that something has happened. And at this point, everyone except for Cersei is marked.
That doesn't sound good.
And it is back to player actions for the next exchange. So there are 2 reindeer that are injured, one that Moriarty stabbed and another that bit itself. And there are 2 reindeer that are uninjured. One that the medic kind of turned away, and another one. I don't remember exactly where it is, but it's there.
Concentrate over the potion she pulls out of her bag for a moment. Sets the bag down calmly and the staff and downs the drink. Costs
Very
her
nice.
a soma and a pharmaca, and she is going to transform into an animal of my choice for the remainder of the scene.
Okay.
Person retains their human intelligence. So, you know what? She's going to transform herself into an elephant as well. This time with tusks and stuff.
There's now an elephant and an elephant-sized pig, and
Yep.
the reindeer are very confused.
Time to trample, and that's what Yuri's going to do, is trample whoever he can trample.
Okay, I'm gonna say this is not something I'm 100% sure on the rules of, but I'm gonna say you can roll for the pig to try and attack because I don't really know how else to do it. So the pig would need, just like anyone would need, a 3 to hit one of these reindeer. I will say you can have a base of 3 because it is huge and could probably step on one of them pretty easily. Um, but that would still get you to a outcome with cost. So if you want a straight outcome or outcome with increment, you would need additional successes.
Yeah, and his description says, I am Circe's faithful pig servant and would do anything for her. So
Mm-hmm.
protecting would be one of those things. So
Yep.
either way, that would probably do it. And just a single success or standard action would get it a wound, right? But
Yes, something would
incremental will
have
do more.
to go. So right now you'd have a base of 3, so you'd be at an outcome with cost. So you'd still inflict a wound, but there'd have to be some downside that
I rolled a 5 and a 5.
5. You got 2 over, so that is going to be an outcome with increment. We have in the past said that you could deal an additional wound with that. I will say, based on the size of the creature dealing the damage, I would allow this to be either um, 2 wounds to one reindeer or one each to 2 reindeer if you wished it to try and trample 2.
2 to 1. The one that went past then, I guess.
Okay.
An uninjured one.
An uninjured one. Okay. You are going to successfully be able to deal the 2 wounds. I will tell you that that is going to finish off this reindeer, whether you wish it to be killed or incapacitated. That can be up to you.
No, it's
So
not a
you can
natural
describe
creature. It's fine. Yes.
how that happens.
All right. Yuri, being accustomed to sometimes being this size, is quite aware of his body and how much space he takes up. Not liking those sharp teeth and not liking them getting close to Circe, he will charge the one that tried to move around and just trample it into paste on the ground. Little tap dancing, maybe.
All right. One reindeer is no more. Who would like to do something?
I guess it's more would on the assumption of like vampire stuff going on. Would the medic know of anything that would mark him that's related to vampire stuff?
So the mark that you as a player know about, the character isn't 100% sure like of what it is. It doesn't strike you as necessarily vampiric in nature, although it is related to blood, clearly. Um, I I will say maybe you have the understanding since you deal a lot with blood that whatever this is, it seems to be something the reindeer are trying to do. You think if they're able to get their blood on you or draw your blood, it would make them stronger against you.
Vampire dude. All right. Hmm. Who is injured?
Me.
Yep, Moriarty.
Can the medic toss a vial of his blood, this time a healing one?
Sure can. Moriarty's
Cracked.
just drinking vial of blood after vial of blood. So you're gonna drink it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, and as you do so, you feel 2 things. One, the very unusual sensation of your flesh sort of knitting itself back together where it had very recently been torn asunder, and a dulling and then complete cessation of pain. Only in that area, not just no pain ever again, but if you had a headache, you still got one, but the wound is dealt with.
Okay.
You're back to all wound slots being full, and it's your turn now.
And I will try to deal with the one that is harassing me.
All right then.
Um,
The effect is ended.
it was difficult to both drink the vial and put up an effective attack. And it was just, he couldn't land the blow.
All right, and prioritized vial drinking, which is perhaps wise because it did heal your wound. Okay. Some reindeer going to do some things. So,
Reindeer things.
they're going to do reindeer things. They are indeed.
Reindeer games.
They will play reindeer games. The one that had approached the giant pig and bitten itself, now that the pig has moved in order to trample another reindeer, finds itself facing instead an actual elephant and is. These things look very vicious, but you're still getting a sense that at this point they're almost bewildered as to what is happening. You don't believe they've ever probably faced this ever in
a
however
little
long they've
unusual.
been out in these woods harassing and murdering people. It eventually decides it's just gonna have to go for it, even if you're big and intimidating. So it's gonna try and bite an elephant. Now, does having changed into an animal, does that do any like
There's no mechanics here. It just says I change into an animal of my choice with human
yeah, and
intelligence.
retain your human intelligence? I just don't know if you would be tougher. Like you'd think an elephant could take more bites than a human, but I don't know since there's no mechanic for it.
Yeah. I would say size wise and it being maybe put on its back feet, so to speak, that I might get a 3 for my base for my dodge or whatever. But
Okay, sure. We can go with
I'm
that.
also swinging the tusks. So
Okay. Reindeer's going to try and bite Cersei in her elephant form. You need a defense check of 3. You're starting with a base of 3. So you could just simply take outcome with cost and say something didn't go quite right, or you could try and get an additional and just straight up dodge it.
I think I'll just keep it there. And as it comes forward with its gnashing teeth and already blood and slightly limping, I just, as an elephant, keep the tusks swaying in front of it, so it's not really sure how to get in close enough to bite.
Okay. And what's the cost?
I would say I lose my next attack action then.
All right.
I'm still getting used to the form and stuff too, so.
That is totally fair. Okay. The one that was previously sort of entangled in some trees has managed to extricate itself. And it, seeing the pale medic, is going to rush towards him. I need a defense check from you, pale medic. And you need a 3.
The medic has been in far worse scenarios. The streets of London, the alleys of Germany, the catacombs of Paris. He can easily sidestep and avoid a simple reindeer.
And so he does. The last reindeer that has not yet gone this exchange has already bitten Moriarty, and it's going to try to do so again.
I hate that guy.
Defense check, please.
There's a lot of action going on in the direct area, and it's making it difficult for the reindeer to completely focus. It keeps seeing movement from the corners of its vision, and it's just getting that mild distraction, which is enough for Moriarty to use to not be where its teeth are when it clamps shut.
Okay. Excellent. Next exchange, player action.
Yuri's gonna wheel around and trample the injured one that just came after me. Here we go. 5
Okay.
for 5 again.
So this is elephant pig, not elephant elephant.
Elephant pig.
Well, elephant doesn't have an attack this turn.
No. Elephant elephant. That's your new name. No, it's not.
Elephant is busy trying to figure out how these tusks work.
Elephant is like, I will not be bitten by you. And I'm very distracted now.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're going for the 2 wounds again, I am assuming.
Yes.
And were you also trying to trample the 1 or trying to trample 2?
I could do that, couldn't I? I will trample 2, the one that injured itself and one of the other ones, if there's a line that can be made.
All right. How is the pig trampling 2 reindeer? And they will both end.
It's busy. It kind of keeps track of the one that went for Cersei and is worried about her and spins around and accidentally tramples the one that was on it and goes after around Cersei, who is struggling with the tusks and the back feet coming a little bit off the ground while she's trying to figure out the weight of everything and such, and just cuts around Cersei and manages to do the omnivorous thing that pigs do and chomps it with its big, large snout.
It's only fair. They were trying to bite first.
Exactly.
All right. 1 reindeer remains. It is completely unharmed as of yet, and it has previously bitten Moriarty.
Massive pig throwing its weight around is not something he wants to get hit by, even inadvertently, and it's just making it too hard to land a blow.
Okay.
I imagine there are a few trees crashing down hither and yon this
There
way.
probably are. The ground is shaking a bit. You've not walked that long yet, so people back in the village are probably like, what is that sound?
Oh, wait till I trumpet.
What would the pale medic like to do?
Toss another potion.
To who?
He'll toss one of the success ones to the giant elephant.
Can the elephant catch and drink a vial of blood?
That's a great question.
I mean, the mouth is kind of open, so you could pitch one in there.
I guess just throw it into an elephant's mouth.
I mean, I'm a little busy to catch things right now, off balance.
I guess you could have your mouth open, kind of like a... Yeah,
definitely that.
Sure.
Starts
I'll allow
gagging,
it.
didn't see it coming, just suddenly this thing's like...
starts choking.
Choking on a vial.
There goes my next action.
Oh, no.
starts
No, I'll
choking,
say-
but you get better at it.
You're like, I'm extra successful at this, though. I'll say yes. I'll say you've gotten good enough at tossing vials to people in stressful situations that you can throw a vial into an elephant's mouth. I don't know if this is what anyone expected when writing this scenario.
I
I don't think elephant and giant pig were probably... excellent. All right, you could do that. Now, the reindeer that is again attempting to bite Moriarty because he's literally right in front of it. It's not just gonna run around you and go bite someone else. Now you need a defense check of 4.
It would raise the opposition level on his attack. And he's having to scramble and just dodge and move, but it's nowhere near as graceful as someone like Piper.
All right. Everyone around you is like, who's Piper?
Well, they might have met Piper.
They might have.
I don't know how long he lives for. He might still be around.
Well, I mean, you're not. It's not a separate timeline.
I thought this was later, but no, if it's not, they
No,
might know
same.
Piper.
It is now. a player's go because there was only one reindeer remaining and it failed to bite Moriarty. So, who would like to do something about the one remaining reindeer?
Moriarty would like to try, unless you have to.
Nope, go ahead.
The
It's
way I've
fair.
been
It did just try
rolling,
and bite
you're
you
gonna
again.
get a go.
Yay!
Oh, nice. So, okay, you're doing 2 wounds to this reindeer. All right, that will eliminate it. So, please elaborate on your plan to eliminate this reindeer.
As it charges forward, he kicks some snow up into its face. And it's not going to hurt it or anything, but it's just enough to distract it just enough. And he stabs it once in the neck and then spins around and pushes the blade through its flank. And then as he steps away, he slices its neck. And it hisses at him and makes some rather unusual and unhappy supernatural sounds. But it starts to, as it's bleeding, goes to its knees and then sort of staggers back to its feet, and it advances again and gets a bit more wobbly, and he keeps sort of moving back a couple of steps as it moves forward, and it starts to just get more and more unbalanced until it finally just bleeds out enough that it falls to the side and then slowly, not immediately, but begins to die.
All right.
And Moriarty looks very put out by the whole affair.
Yes, because you are healed, but you probably have some tears in your coat.
And he missed a lot and got hit, and it was just not according to plan.
Fair enough.
Ooh,
Did
I
he
hate when that
plan
happens.
for vicious monster reindeer? Does he
No,
have a
no, he did not,
contingency
and
plan for that?
He's annoyed that he couldn't expect the unexpected.
He's like, why didn't I think?
Speaking of
monster
which, he turns
reindeer?
around and looks at an elephant and a elephant pig, and he's not quite sure what to make of either of them, so he makes nothing of either.
The elephant waves its trunk around.
The elephant gives a really loud, blasting, triumphant. What's the word? Trumpet, I guess.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
I think that is the
We're gonna have
correct.
to get an
Yep.
elephant sound
Yep.
effect.
Yep.
Yeah, thank you.
A really loud trumpeting sound of triumph, and then just sits down on the snow and looks pleased with itself until the effects of the potion wears off. And that would be about the same time that the pig, who kind of just comes over and kind of checks each one of the downed
Reindeer.
blood spots on the ground and makes sure it's not moving.
And none of them are. And getting a little closer, you can see that, yeah, they really do just look like you're pretty certain these just used to be reindeer. Like something has obviously happened to them, but they don't seem to be some form of new reindeer-esque creature. They do look like actual reindeer that have been altered.
As the potion wears off, Cersei readjusts the clothes, kind of gives a few shakes, looks a little bit giddy and happy. I've never done that before, and it was wow, what a thrill! But boy, those tusks are heavy. And she gives her head a little bit of a shake. Now it's back to normal and stuff. And I really prefer this so much better, mind you. I wasn't really cold in that other form, and. Anyways, is everybody okay?
And Moriarty is over looking at his coat, and then he kicks the dead reindeer. Look, damn you, ruined.
The reindeer is both dead and unapologetic.
Yeah, he's not so unapologetic that it's ruined. He's quite happy that the reindeer is ruined. He returns the vials to the medic, the pale doctor.
Here, put more of your blood in these.
Waste not, want not. No point buying more vials if it is not needed.
Oh,
Yeah, I was about to say,
a rubber
does this
stopper.
come to a question about whether if Cersei swallowed a vial in elephant form, does human Cersei now just have a glass vial in her stomach?
One will not inquire too much
No.
about that kind of thing,
We
but
don't
she
need to
does.
worry about it.
She
It's
does.
magic.
She does spit out the rubber stopper. She also goes over to her bag and opens it up and pulls out a small paper bag and opens it up and takes out a nice apple for the now regular size little miniature pig, Yuri, and gives him an apple. And
Very
she has a
nice.
bag of fruit for Yuri.
God,
Small
I
bag
rolled
of fruit.
terrible.
I'm sorry.
I sucked all your luck out of your
Oh,
area.
wow. So many ones. Even
I'm
when I rolled one
sorry.
die, I rolled one.
You did.